And what's going on, guys? Welcome to another fun episode here of Isles Talk. We've had quite the busy day. No question about it. I'm still scrolling through here, making sure I get all the info. Gary will be joining me in just a moment. He's had some things to do. And here we go. Beautiful. We're set. Let's do it. Hi, guys. Welcome, one and all, to Isles Talk. We got a lot to go over. Today's theme basically is going to be the draft, the upcoming draft, the expansion draft. We're also going to be talking about the players that we just traded, a couple of trades to announce, and thank you, sir. And we're going to go over the Bridgeport Soundtigers very, very briefly. And I know I struck a nerve with a lot of you. I did, and it's on purpose. There's a method to my madness when I say there's a possibility that Kieffer, Bellows, and Oliver Wahlstrom could both be at least starting the season in Bridgeport coming up. I just wouldn't put that out there just to annoy everyone. But what's up, guys? So having said that, before we get into Bridgeport, we have a couple of trades to announce. First and foremost, Nick Leddy going over to Detroit. I did have him going to Detroit in the completion of the Dmytro Timashov deal. That didn't happen. We got Richard Panik back in return. So we're not done dealing with Detroit yet, folks. We still have that Timashov deal to finish up with. So the Islanders end up clearing quite a bit of cap, which is absolutely necessary in this case, with the cap not going anywhere for like the next 3 years or so. So that was big, but I got to tell you, it hurts a little bit with Leddy and Boychuk no longer here. These guys decided to stay with the Islanders when no one else really would. And the two of them literally helped change the face of the Islanders. And they started everything. They really did. And lots of luck to Nick Leddy. I hope Islander fans give Leddy and Thomas Grace a big standing ovation when we finally see them in Belmont next season, because Nick Leddy was a huge part of this Islander turnaround. Oh, here we go. I got Gary coming on right now. How are you, sir?
Paul, what's up, buddy?
I'm all right. We were just talking about Nick Leddy.
Ah, yes, Nick.
And how he was dealt for Panik, and I wanted to get your thoughts real quick on Nick Leddy and his influence with the Islanders.
A lot of people really went on him a lot, and to me, Nick was a presence. To me, Nick did his best when sometimes he wasn't as visible. So were his puck carrying. I mean, there was some, almost vintage Bobby Bourne movements that he had, with respect to the old Islander fans that remember how Bobby Bourne used to go end to end on rushes. Nick Leddy was one of those players that could do the same thing. To me, he was a good second set defenseman. He seemed to be, consistent. Not many times he made glaring mistakes. Unfortunately, there were some, but I'd say he's serviceable. And some of the stats I heard, he's like, some of the, all-time Islander greats, he's behind Potvin and Persson, in some of those numbers. And it's a real testament to his overall game. And, I think he'll do well in Detroit. And, don't knock Stevie Yzerman. I mean, everybody talks about Brisebois being a Cup general manager, but really it was Steve Yzerman that built the Tampa Bay Lightning team, not Mr. Brisebois. So Stevie Y knows what he's doing. And I think, he's getting a good serviceable defenseman that'll work with his young kids for the future. That's for sure.
That, and I also think that Nick Leddy, if he decides he doesn't want to stay in Detroit, there's going to be a lot of teams looking to pick someone up like Leddy at the trade deadline. So then Stevie Y is going to pick up like a prospect and another pick. So
there's no question.
Yeah.
Especially if with the trade deadline things aren't going good because he is on the last year of his contract. There could be a possibility he can get some chips for it. So, it's if he stays, it's good. If he works the year and gets traded for some chips, it's still good for Stevie Y. So I think it's a good deal either way.
So let's move on real quick here now. But again, thank you, Nick Leddy, for everything you did. You and Boychuk helped change this Islander franchise for the better. Moving on, Andrew Ladd.
I did not expect this.
No one did.
I was out shopping. Losing part of my credit limit to BJ's this afternoon, and all of a sudden I heard the thing. My phone flash and heard rumors that Ladd was going to Arizona. I'm like, get out of here! And this statement right now that I'm going to say goes to all these people that over the last 48 hours was ripping Lou Lamoriello. You people need to get a life, okay? Lou Lamoriello is the best general manager in the league for a reason, okay? In 24 hours, this man has just released, what, $11 million in cap space?
Pretty much.
$11 million. So, all you people that were moaning and groaning about, all these guys not being able to get taken care of. Well, guess what? They're getting taken care of.
Yeah, they will definitely be taken care of.
Right. And not only to the $11 million that we're talking about, but you got to remember, you got that, I'll call it the Kucherov rule. You got the $6 million in cap space that's going to be added to our books once training camp starts and the LTIR kicks in for Johnny Boychuk. So there's $17 million right there.
And we're not done with the expansion draft.
No.
Now, here's the interesting part. Arizona is actually going to let Andrew Ladd play.
Yeah.
That's why they took over the signing bonus. So, Arizona, we owe you a beer. Thank you.
We owe more than a beer.
A little more than a beer, but,
You think we can get Donnie to send them Blue Line Bagels?
Oh, yeah. Like
Donnie, do you hear that?
Day.
Yeah, send some bagels down to Arizona with our thanks.
Yeah. But no, we gave up a 2022 second round pick, a 2021 second round pick, but
wasn't that pick the pick we just got?
The 2021 pick is actually our pick, number 60.
Was our pick. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have Colorado's at number 52, which I really do like because, as I said last week in this draft, you could have someone in the top 30 fall down to 50. This is just one of those drafts where it's potluck.
Right, it's a complete total crapshoot.
It's a complete total crapshoot. So I'm hoping the Isles have someone in mind that they really want to take, and if they can land them, I'm all for it. That's a great move right there. The 2022 pick is going to be whatever was the better draft pick. So let's say Colorado wins the Stanley Cup. Okay, the Arizona Coyotes would actually be taking our draft pick. And we would still have Colorado's. So, and it just flip-flops. Now,
right.
The 2023 third round pick, if I'm not mistaken, Andrew Ladd has to play one game. If he plays one game that season, 22-23, the Islanders give Arizona the third round pick.
Right. I mean, from what I've heard, they said that, they're looking for Andrew Ladd to be in a leadership role. So they are, from the sounds of things, it seems like they are really going full tilt on him. It's kind of like a guy that's been, hurt all year in a sense. Hopefully you got him with fresh legs and things of that nature. And, granted, that wasn't one of Mr. Lamoriello, as I just talked about him, one of his better moves, but I understand why he did it and holding him back, but it now the deal that hurt him a little bit now helps him.
Yes. Big time. And for those of you just coming on, I'm sure you guys already found out Elliot Friedman was first tweeted. Andy Green is a New York Islander once again, probably defensive pairing with Noah Dobson, $750,000 with another $250,000 bonus. So he's around for another $1 million. He will be exposed at the expansion draft, meaning Pellick, Pullock, and Mayfield will be protected.
Right. I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I don't know if you've heard, but that there's been some things that they were rumors that that we were talking with Seattle and hoping they would take Ken Appleby and possibly, as something. And I don't think, again, from the sounds of things, I don't think they're done.
They're not done. They're not done. I'll tell you guys right now, he's not done. I will say now, wait for the draft.
Pardon me, I got to take my glasses off so I can read my screen.
Go ahead. I'll tell you guys right now, something's going to happen at the draft. This is Lou. Lou loves to put on a show at the draft. We don't have a first-round pick. The Islanders are still going to have a name somewhere in that first round that night or before. I don't think Lou's done. I think he's again. I said to our audience before, Lou still needs to make a deal with Detroit to complete the Dmytro Timashov trade from last year. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's Michael Dal Cole heading back to Detroit.
I know there's some people that may be on and maybe listening that may not be happy with that idea, but I really think a change of scenery will do him loads of good. I really do. I mean, and he's a good, from what I hear, he's a real good kid, a real team guy. And, if that happens, I really want to see him succeed.
Absolutely. And Detroit, I do know, has been looking at Dal Cole now for like the last couple of months. So Detroit is probably the best place for him to go, but we'll see what happens. And do we think there's going to be a bigger deal coming? Yes, we do. How big will depend on Lou, but I don't think Lou is done. I don't think you think Lou is done either.
By no stretch of the imagination. And it just... Again, it just goes back to show. Oh, Lou isn't doing this. Why is Lou getting Richard Paddock, a guy that's going to be a scrub? Well, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
And again, he got him at half the price.
Time.
Yeah, exactly. Don't base it on one move. Again, as you tweeted out, this could make him the GM of the year for the third year in a row, if the way he's going.
Exactly.
And you heard it. And by the way, this guy over here to my left, or am I pointing the other way? This guy here. This guy here. He is Nostradamus, by the way. He knows all. And listen to him because, believe me, you'll learn something.
I don't know if that's a compliment or not. I know. That's because I am here tonight to absolutely torture you guys. Like, you guys are probably going to hate me when this night is over. But there is
and you know what? He doesn't care.
No, I don't care. I don't care. Jim Parisi for sure would love Suter too. We'll get into them in a little bit. I am going to go a little bit Parisi here. Your off season's almost done, Islander fans. I'm not going to lie to you. Your off season's almost over. Believe it or not. But before we get into water cooler talk, let's talk real quick. Bridgeport edition here on Isles Talk. And I got to tell you, this was a season of change, without question. We had a lot of the old savvy veterans from last year. And this year, we ended up having over 13 rookies on the roster. What was that? 13. Let me help myself out here. 13 out of the 32 players on this Bridgeport roster were rookies. And these poor kids had to go up against the Providence Bruins and the Hartford Wolfpack for 24 games. That's about as good of a extended training camp as you're going to get for these young kids. It was definitely a struggle.
A baptism by fire, as I call it.
A baptism by fire. And before we get further into their season, it ended with the change of the Bridgeport Islanders. Now, I know, first off, I want to welcome the Bridgeport Soundtigers fan group. who I invited here this evening. Yes, this was the Sound Tigers' final season, at least the Sound Tigers, but now they are the Islanders, and I wanted to get your opinion on it, Gary, and then I'll shoot you mine, and you guys can give us your comments of what you think about Bridgeport moving forward, going as the Bridgeport Islanders.
I'm ambivalent I'm on the fence with it, but I get the idea of branding, and that's the main purpose of it. Obviously, it's the same team, it's the same arena, it's the same management, it's the same everything else except the branding of the name. And people saying, "Oh, you're in Connecticut, you're not on an island." Blah 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 blah. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's part of the Islander organization. Okay. It is the Syracuse Metropolitans. There's no metropolitan area in Syracuse, but it's the Met organization.
Yeah,
that's what it is. A lot of teams in Major League Baseball, all their minor league teams are the same name. It's branding. It's an idea. I know a lot of people don't like the logo. I'm like, it's okay. Some people wanted other names. No, Seabass is definitely not a name. Brush, give it a break.
I don't know why I let him in.
I know. Well, there are some mistakes made, but that's okay. That's okay. Nostradamus, you're forgiven.
Here's my Go ahead.
Go ahead. No. I'm finished. Go ahead.
Here's my thought on the branding of the Bridgeport Islanders. I'm honestly, let's put it to you this way: the Islanders have already kind of rebranded themselves to being a New York State team. Okay, which is why I'm wearing this one. Mm-hmm. Defend New York. It's no longer defend the island. You have the island. Yes, I have defend New York. This is the changing of the guard here, boys and girls. And Brush. Okay, let's put it this way: does Long Island have a lighthouse? Yes, they do. Does does Bridgeport have a lighthouse? Yes, they do. Okay. Are there islands on Connecticut? Yes, they are. Does New York have an island? Yes, a couple of them, but more, obviously Long Island's the big one. But Lou is trying to brand the entire state. It's no longer, defend the island. It's defend New York. It's defend the whole area, including Manhattan. Sorry, guys. Bridgeport is the same thing. You're going to defend Connecticut. It's sending a message to Hartford saying, we're not going to be intimidated anymore. We're not going to be the little brother. We're coming after you. And Lou did this with the Yankees as well. The Yankees are branded. The Yankees have been winning for years. And since Lou took over with the Islanders have done nothing but winning. And when you go back to the Bridgeport Soundtigers, the one thing, unfortunately, that everyone's going to remember, it's not just the player development and bringing them up to the Islanders. It's the fact that the Bridgeport Soundtigers couldn't get to the second round in almost now 18 years. The last time they were in the second round was in 2002, 2003. They haven't done it since then. There hasn't been that winning culture that a lot of Stanley Cup teams need. And this was granted, I love the Soundtigers. I love that logo. But if there was ever a time to change it up, it's now.
The only thing I will say to that, especially as a 30-plus year season ticket holder, and I've talked to plenty of season ticket holders in my domain, some less, some more, but I understand the idea of branding it and being a New York State team. However, I'm more upset of the fact that the Manhattan skyline is the first thing. If you want to be a New York State team, that's fine. But you got to remember what got you here. What 40 plus years got you. and is still on the uniform of your organization. Not Manhattan, not the Brooklyn Bridge, but Long Island. That has to be first with bold text, underline, and 100 font. Manhattan can come after that. But to me, the island comes first. And that's where I think a lot of season ticket holders and a lot of fans are going to be unhappy. I know, I understand what you're doing, but I'm not Manhattan. I'm not the Rangers. I'm the Islanders. You say the name Island in your name. That's what has to be first.
Sorry, and there are many Bridgeport season ticket holder fans who really do cherish that Sound Tiger because it's part of the Bridgeport culture. And
no, right.
Go ahead.
No, I understand. No, and that's very true. I mean, again, I've mentioned it on some other talks or whatever, but the guy that used to be the president of the Bridgeport Soundtigers fan club is a diehard 1,000% Ranger fan. But he lives outside of Bridgeport and he loves this team.
Right.
You know, he's totally devoted to the Soundtigers, loves the attitude. And, you know, I know he was a little bit upset when they made the change in the team name. And, you know, I think that's going to affect them. And it's going to affect a lot of people. But, you know, the branding is the right way to go. I still say it's the right way to go. However, I just go back to saying the Allen has to be first. I don't, you know, when they showed the promos coming into Game 6, they showed Manhattan, they showed the New York City skyline first. Wrong. Totally wrong. And I will debate that with anybody, anytime. It's still a Long Island team, and these roots have to come first. Jones Beach, you know, Robert Moses, anything around the island. Even put the freaking Roosevelt Field Mall if you want to. I don't care.
No, we don't have to do that.
I'm joking, but it's Long Island first. New York second.
Okay. You're going to put that Waste Management stacks up there too?
Covanta? Why not? Why not? Paul, you haven't been around in years. It's Covanta. You haven't been around in years, so
no, it's still there, though. That's the worst part.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on here, boys and girls. The Bridgeport Soundtigers had a very, very brief season, just about 24 games. It was an extended training camp. It's very difficult to go over the numbers with everyone because it was basically a brand new young team. Some of these kids probably should have gone to Worcester, but Worcester was closed for the year. Some players did stand out, and I'm going to bring them up right now. Real quick, though, Bridgeport never had a chance. You're going up against the Providence Bruins. You were already done. So the one thing you had to do as a Sound Tiger fan was to put zero expectations on these kids, on the coaching staff, everyone. Zero expectations. There was no playoffs coming. It was just 24 games of hockey development. And I took it like that, and there were a couple of players that stood out, and what I was able to get, I was also told by a couple of scouts from New Jersey, Philadelphia, and the Detroit Red Wings. We all kind of agreed on the same players who stood out to them the most. And we're going to go over them in just a few minutes. But for me, there's no point in going over the numbers for all these players because it was such a dramatic learning experience. And then they had that great little winning streak going on. Towards the end of the season, everything started to fall into place, and then they got everything together. So, having said that,
let me just interject a second, because I know when you said they've had to play the Providence Bruins. The Providence Bruins for the last 4 or 5 years have been definitely one of the strongest teams in the AHL, bar none.
Yes,
bar none. But I will tell you, they lost a lot of games to Providence, but I think they were 2-1-0 games.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a couple of other 1-goal losses that they lost late. So, you know, like you said, you couldn't put an expectation, you know, on numbers. You couldn't put an expectation on, you know, where they would stand, but you wanted to make sure that the games were competitive and they were putting an effort out there. And I really think in a lot of those games. And I really, it was great that the fact that all these games were at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm sitting right here in my office as I'm working, listening to the Sound Tiger games at lunchtime. Screw my boss for doing it, but it was enjoyable. And I really, and you're going to go over the players, but I really got a lot out of that. And I think it was more than I expected because of the fact that we had so many green kids, if you will,
Sure.
rookies and, first taste of professional hockey. I mean, they didn't have to deal with as much of the life as they would have had to, but you still had it. And, in a pandemic world. And I really think their play was much better than I really thought it would be. And forget about the record. Just looking at the
Yes.
guys, and you're going to go over that, and I'll let you do that. But
Yeah.
I was definitely more, I won't say happy, but more comfortable with what happened than I expected.
Yep. So after talking to, again, those NHL scouts, there were a couple of players who they stood out a little bit, but they have these next players on their radars. I don't know if they're going to be trade bait at some point, maybe, who knows, but these are the 4 players that pretty much stood out to them in no particular order. Grant Hutton, the right-handed defenseman, out of Ohio University, I believe, or Ohio Miami, I think. I was told Grant just needs to get in a few more games, get his feet wet. Like a full season of Bridgeport probably would do him wonders, and then you're going to see his game elevate. There are a couple of scouts who think Miami, Ohio. Thank you, Brush. There are a couple of scouts who think he could be a solid bottom pair defenseman, especially on the right side, which is his forte. The other defenseman here, it is primarily defenseman, Bodie Wild.
Yep.
Bodie Wild, they said, has had a rough start, but they also feel in 2 years, this way, Paul, there you go, 2 years for Bodie Wild. He's got to play almost every game for the next 2 years, and they feel that him and this next defenseman should be paired together like Pelech and Pulock were, back in Bridgeport. Pelech and Mayfield, same thing. They feel that Samuel Bolduc has the tools, but they are still very raw. Okay, now I am going to go over Bolduc's numbers real quick. 24 games played, 6 goals, 8 assists for 14 points. He got rookie of the, first team rookie in the division. He was essentially their best player this year in their eyes, but the defensive game still needs a lot of work. The skating still needs to improve, and they feel that if Bolduc and Wild can be paired together, they can eventually replace Scott Mayfield and whoever Scott Mayfield's new defensive partner will be in about 3 years. So give these kids 2 more years down in Bridgeport. We'll see what happens after that. And then the 4th player, believe it or not, is Simon Holmstrom. Simon Holmstrom, again, has a lot of raw talent. He's been good against players his own age, but he's still trying to figure out the overall 200-foot game. And the nice thing they said with Simon Holmstrom is that he's got 3 more years on his entry-level contract to stay, marinate in Bridgeport, learn the full game, and then a call-up or 2 at some point. And by the time he reaches the NHL, he should be lights out. They still like his potential, but he's got to be better at the overall 200-foot game. But those are the only 4 players right now that scouts are actually looking with Bridgeport, and to me, that is a little concerning. It goes to just how young this team is. And, we've said this before, playoffs are a scarcity when it comes to this team. Now, granted, they did change the playoff format. They went back to the traditional top 4 teams in each division make the playoffs. Well, Bridgeport a couple of times had like the 10th best record in the AHL, and they still missed the playoffs.
Yep.
So there is that hassle. But, you know, luckily, these kids still have time to develop. Could they be used as trade bait? Maybe. I don't understand why you would use them now. You still have to build that support system from this draft coming up, and especially in next year's draft. So I don't see anyone from Bridgeport really going. Maybe Grant Hutton, because he's like that 24, 25, mid-20s kid, maybe, used as a pick or whatever. But there's no help. I will be this blunt. There is no help coming to the Islanders with any of these kids anytime soon. None. Okay. If you thought Kieffer Bellows didn't get a lot of playing time or Oliver Wahlstrom didn't get any playing time, Barry Trotz is not even going to take a look at these kids next year at all. So for those of you who are going to ask, don't worry about Bolduc. Don't worry about Wild. Don't worry about Holmstrom. Let them marinate. They're not coming up anytime soon. And this goes back to what I had been saying before. Could Bellows and Wahlstrom start the season in Bridgeport? And before I get into that, Gary, if you had any comments about the kids?
Just the fact that Bodie Wild had, an injury-plagued first year professionally. So it's kind of stunted his growth. I mean, everybody, when he was drafted, everybody was saying, "Oh, this kid will be here in 18 months," and I'm like, "It's 3 years, man." The kid was raw then, and unfortunately he got hurt, and it really messed himself up. But again, the last 8 or 10 games of the season in the AHL, I really thought that Wild was getting to the right path, that he was moving up properly. So, I don't see that. I know Brush just said, Van de Sample and Witherspoon. Those are guys that maybe.
I will give Witherspoon 5 to 10 games max. Like, he's literally a cup of coffee. And Van de Sample, I'm not gonna lie. If Thomas Hickey can't get into the lineup, I can't see Mitch getting into the Islanders lineup either. Unless there's a absolute plague of injuries, I can't see Mitch getting into that Islanders lineup. Witherspoon can move the puck up. He's got some decent speed. Mm-hmm. I could see him come up for a cup of coffee just in case Andy Green went out. That's fine. I would probably say early on, I would put him ahead of Robin Salo, only because Witherspoon has been playing in this system for a while now. It's a North American game, but that's only for a short time. Robin Salo, to me, though, is probably the next Bridgeport defenseman to come up if he can adapt his game to North America.
Well, the other person you didn't put into the equation, but because he was up here for part of the year, is Sebastian Aho as well.
Yeah, I mean, Sebastian got a couple of games in there. I thought he did okay. He was putting some goals in, but that's the other part. We don't know if Sebastian's going to be here past the draft. We don't know yet. I could see Sebastian Aho as the 7th defenseman, which would really put us, a stinker into both Mitch's chance and Witherspoon's chance of coming up. But, right now, boys and girls, I don't see anyone in Bridgeport coming up anytime soon.
Well, how about, and I know you talked about Robin Salo, but what about anybody else that you think might make the trek from Europe over, any of our European, prospects that could come over, or even the guys from the NCAA level that you might see come here to Bridgeport next season?
I like Colin Adams. We got to see how well he adapts. He's been playing with men now for a while, but he just showed up. I like Robin Salo. I want to give him like the first 30 games and really, really get a real good look at him. during the season, see how his skating is. That's going to be the big one for me.
Yeah.
How are these guys going to skate? If he can skate, wonderful. Let's see how his game is. But you know, Anatoly Golishev, I know he can skate. He can be pesky. We don't know where he's going to be yet. You know, especially with Panik now coming in, we don't know what's going to happen with Ross Johnson. You know, we just don't know any of these roster moves yet. That's why, you know, you and I continue to say there's going to be more coming in. Ben Maragiaz is not. Ben Maragiaz probably has a shot at the East Coast Hockey League right about now. This defense is pretty much set with what they have. So if Maragiaz comes in as a college free agent, I would expect him to be signing with Worcester.
Worcester.
Yeah. So now, having said that, I know you guys are looking for Tarasenko. You guys are looking for Landeskog. You guys are looking for that sniper. Okay. Wonderful. Where are you putting Wahlstrom? Okay.
Can't have it both ways.
You can't have it both ways, guys. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'll go 85%. Kyle Palmieri comes back. Kyle Palmieri got a great taste of playoff hockey
and being
on
home.
Long Island
and being home.
Yeah, I don't think Kyle Palmieri is going to be going anywhere, guys.
Say hi, Claire.
Hi, Claire.
Oh, hi, Claire. Yes. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Ooh, you're dead meat now, Paul.
Anyway, yeah, I know. I'm going to be dead by everybody. No,
I could be dead by everybody.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to have it both ways, guys. Oliver Wahlstrom, at this point, because of the numbers games, I think he's going to start in Bridgeport. Because right now, Eberle is still on this team. And if you're going to trade Eberle, you know, you're going to bring in Tarasenko or Landeskog or somebody else, and it still clogs in the hole where Wahlstrom might be.
Speaking of guys in that nature, I need you to clear something up because I know you and I have talked off air about this and you convinced me, but I'm still hearing it the other way from other people. What is Kieffer Bellows' status? Because you tell me he doesn't have to be protected, but the other people saying that he's going to be left unprotected. What is the real answer, Nostradamus?
According to Cap Friendly, I believe the number is 23 games remaining or 12 games remaining. Brush, if you can do me a favor, go on to the Seattle expansion on Cap Friendly and go check Kieffer Bellows' numbers. He's got like 12 games remaining in order for him to be qualified to be unprotected. That's according to Cap Friendly. Okay, if they're going with the restricted free agent part, then yes. But what they're missing is Kieffer Bellows has not played enough games, minor league or AHL or NHL, to be qualified.
They have to be protected
for this expansion draft. But that's according to Cap Friendly. So I don't know if anyone's looked at it or not.
Okay.
Yeah,
it makes sense. It just you just hear quote unquote experts, the Dragers and them is saying, that Bellows has to be, he's not protected and Seattle could take him. I'm like, but that's not what I'm hearing on other aspects. So
no, here's the other thing, boys and girls, with Kieffer Bellows. Kieffer Bellows is actually the easier part. Kieffer Bellows right now just turned 22 years old. I'm sorry, 23. His birthday was June 10th. He did not sign his entry-level contract until age 19. Now, what that means is that after either 4 years of playing, Bellows has 13 games left, so he does not need to be protected. Thank you, Brush. He's either played 4 years or 160 games, or I think they lower it now because it's prorated, maybe 120 games in the NHL in order for you to be not to be waiver exempt. Kieffer Bellows is in year 3, boys and girls. He's just starting year 4. And he has not played 100 games in the NHL.
I don't think he's played 20.
This was a blessing from COVID and Lou managing Kieffer's numbers. Now, it's not going to show right now in cap friendly because he has not signed his new contract. But this next contract, he will be or should be waiver exempt, which means he'll clear waivers, he'll start the season in Bridgeport, and until there's an actual injury coming, he's there. Okay, that's Kieffer Bellows. Now, Oliver Wahlstrom, for those of you who want Oliver Wahlstrom on this team, I don't think it's going to happen, boys and girls. At least not to start the season.
No, not to start.
It goes back to what you and I were saying last week. The Islanders just went to the Final Four of the NHL playoffs, and they did it without Oliver Wahlstrom. There is no rush in bringing in Oliver Wahlstrom in the beginning or the middle of October. Even if you keep Eberle and you bring in Palmieri, even if you trade for Tarasenko, even if you sign Landeskog, you're not bringing up Oliver Wahlstrom when there's no need to. There's playing at the NHL level, and then there's playing at the Barry Trotz level. And the question is Oliver Wahlstrom's consistency ready for a full 82-game season of Barry Trotz's system?
Yeah, because even when Wahlstrom was playing quote unquote big minutes, he wasn't putting more than 14 or 15 in a game. And just what Brush said, put him as a first line in Bridgeport, make him play all scenarios, get him 22, 23 minutes a game if you need to. But that's where he will thrive and bring his game up to another level.
Now, this is why I brought up that second round drought for the Soundtigers. A player's development, or believe it or not, the Stanley Cup, you need the good drafting, you need to bring in the good free agents, but the development is the biggest part. If you go back to the Calder Cup champions, or even the runners-up, the Syracuse Crunch, the Norfolk Admirals, these guys were from the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Texas Stars recently were runner-ups. Mm-hmm. Dallas took those kids. They brought them, and they ended up going to
the Stanley Cup Finals.
The Hershey Bears, the Washington Capitals minor league team, they were Calder Cup champions before they became Stanley Cup champions. Oh, I got to hear it almost every year. The Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, the Penguins, they went into the finals, and then they ended up winning the Stanley Cup. There is a strong correlation. We'll go the last Calder Cup champions, the Charlotte Checkers. Mm-hmm. And then you have Carolina going to the conference finals. You have Carolina taking Tampa Bay. Okay? The point is this.
Wasn't Alex Nedeljkovic, wasn't he the MVP of the AHL playoffs? And where was he in the playoffs here with Carolina?
Exactly. This is my point, boys and girls. Okay? You have to have at least one solid year of a good, long playoff run if you want to have the composure and the mental fortitude to get yourself through a Stanley Cup playoffs. I'll say this now. If Oliver Wahlstrom, depending on his injury, of course, if Oliver Wahlstrom, say he was injury-free, but he was still on the bench this past year, if he had gone through a long playoff run with Bridgeport the season before, and he had that injury with Pittsburgh, but then he was ready to go against Tampa Bay, I'll put money down that Oliver Wahlstrom would have played in that Tampa Bay series because he had that experience getting himself to the Calder Cup championship. There's that element of, what's the word I'm looking for? The mental fortitude, that long suffering grind that everyone has to go through, the pressure situations that players at a young age need to learn quicker, and they should learn quicker going to the AHL and going through the Calder Cup championships. I still think had Wahlstrom gone through that the year before, I think Wahlstrom's playing against Tampa in the series because I don't think the pressure would have gotten to him, and I think Trotz and Lou would have been more comfortable putting him in that situation.
Makes absolute total sense. You just don't or out 3 weeks and put a 22-year-old kid that's got tremendous talent, but has no physical memory, if you will, body memory to what it takes to get through, whether it's college level, U.S. development, AHL, NHL, to get to that kind of a stance, you need to have something in you. And he's never experienced that. Yeah, he experienced the first round, but first round and third round, are two completely different entities.
No, and let's be serious. Let's be serious here. There's a difference between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
Big difference. Okay. The Tampa Bay Lightning, they've had, again, Tampa Bay and Pittsburgh, they've had, yes, players who've won Calder Cup champions and Stanley Cup champions. They're all part of that mix. But the Tampa Bay Lightning had more of them lately.
Yeah.
Lately. So it was a bigger challenge for Wahlstrom. And I'll say this now. If Bellows and Wahlstrom are on the same line together, and if for some strange reason Otto Koivula clears waivers, you have Bellows, Koivula, and Wahlstrom on line one. Let them rip the rest of the American Hockey League apart. There's chemistry and almost, I want to say, a brotherhood between Bellows and Wahlstrom anyway. You can see it on the ice, and you can see it in practice when you see them. Let them play, at least to start the season, in Bridgeport. If injuries occur, sure, you bring them up. That's fine. But if there's no injuries, let them go deep in the playoffs. Bring the culture of winning from the Islanders to Bridgeport and show these kids what it takes to get into the NHL. Show these kids what it takes to win and change the culture in Bridgeport. That's it. That's why I'm saying right now, and the reason why I'm harping on this is because this is what Bill Torrey did in the 80s.
Yep.
This is what he did. And Lou has done this before. It's the same similar pattern. So,
and with an added benefit in this case, since you mentioned about the history of Bridgeport and how they've not been able to make strides in that, to put Oliver Wahlstrom and Kieffer Bellows in the category of guys that started the culture, that started the change.
Yes.
That could be even more of a help to their development. That when they come up, they know what it took and they did what it had to be done. And that could scream experience, both inward and outward, to those two guys, and others that are along the way.
Oh yeah. Now, don't get me wrong, Islander fans. If there are injuries to some of these players, and the Islanders need to bring them up, absolutely bring them up.
Nobody's questioning that.
Yeah, but I'll go a step further. I think this will be the last year. That Bellows and Wahlstrom will be in Bridgeport.
Yep.
This is it. There's no better time to win in Bridgeport than this coming season. Do it with all of the kids. Do it. I'll even say this now. Re-sign Cole Barjow. Cole Barjow is still a good center. He's he can score the goals. He's also your backup in case Otto Koivula does in fact not clear waivers.
And
maybe Arizona picks him up.
And a very mature person in the locker room.
Yep.
And you need that as well.
Yeah.
Not to say that Bellows and Wahlstrom aren't potential leaders, and I think they will be, but again, they're still young.
Yeah.
They're still young, and you need even a good AHL championship roster does have to have veteran guys in the room to work with the kids. So a guy like Barjow would be good. I'll even take a step backwards, and some people might think I'm nuts, but who might be a leader would be Ross Johnston if he goes back down.
Yeah.
I think he would be a tremendous leader for these guys. Yeah. He's been up and been in, enough, but obviously the numbers game is going to dictate to you that you're not going to, be in that position as Ross was. Yeah, he's
Right.
got to be back. He's got to be in Bridgeport. It just has to be. So I think there's good people that are going to surround these kids this coming year. What they couldn't have with this pandemic year we had last year. So there's good times ahead.
Right. Yep. So, Michael O'Donnell brings up a good point here. Am I oversimplifying things? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
No question.
I am absolutely oversimplifying things from the this isn't the 70s and 80s, but guess what? We haven't seen these results from the Islanders themselves since the 70s and 80s. So oversimplifying, especially with Lou, is
Hold
working.
Take it back. We
Take
did
what back?
win. We did win the IHL championship in Denver with Butch Goring as the coach.
Oh, I know the 2 years. Okay. Yes. Okay.
We did.
Yes, we did.
You're welcome.
We did. 95, 96. Okay. Fine. Yes. Okay. But I was going more.
Say it. You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay. Shit. Anyway, yeah. It is oversimplifying because that's what Lou is doing. Lou, in all honesty, guys, Lou is only worried, and so is Barry. They're only worried about wins and losses. They really are. Everyone else is looking for the sniper. Everyone else is looking for the sexy star to come in and get the Islanders, back up to, that sexy team again. Guys, we're already there. I don't think we need the sexy star just yet. I think Oliver Wahlstrom's going to be the sexy star. I don't think Matt Barzal has even touched his potential as to being, a sexy hockey star. Noah Dobson is going to be phenomenal. It's just we have a lot of guys who are not into the glam. They're here for the team. And that's exactly what the team from the 70s and 80s were. And 95, 96. Okay, fine, happy. Okay. But yes, I am oversimplifying it because it still works. So, having said that, water cooler talk time. Speaking of oversimplifying things, I did see a couple of them here. Questions, comments, concerns. Oh, did I lose you guys? I almost had a brownout. If I lose you guys, I'm sorry. I might be in the middle of a storm. Didn't know I was in a storm.
Great.
So anyway, there was a question here of who would I protect? Well, obviously you already know my defenseman, Pulock, Mayfield. I am protecting Varlamov. And on defense, in all honesty, guys, I am protecting Eberle.
Forwards.
Forwards, yes. Eberle, Bailey, all my centers, Barzal, Brock, JG Peugeot, that's my 5. And who else? Anders Lee and Anthony Beauvillier. I'm protecting all of them. I'm not looking, me personally, and you guys know this if you've been following the show, I'm not looking for the sniper. I'm looking for a third line. Okay, if I'm getting Kyle Palmieri, I'm going to go 85%. He's coming back. And if I get Zach Parise, which is everyone else is saying is a given, I'm going Parise, Peugeot, Palmieri. Thank you. That's my offseason. Who are we getting on defense? Lou always improves on what he already has working, which is defense and goaltending. He doesn't have to work on the goaltending. But now, who are we bringing in on defense? My first preference, in all honesty, would be Alec Martinez. I still love Alec Martinez. You give me Alec Martinez with Scott Mayfield or Noah Dobson, I'm okay with that. However, there is something really enticing with Ryan Suter and Scott Mayfield on the same pair. Because I think I think the Islanders would absolutely be taking a page right out of the Montreal Canadiens, where they bring in 4 old big guys during the playoffs and they just beat you, like physically beat you. And I think Go ahead.
I was just saying, that Suter has a history with Barry because he spent 7 years with him in Nashville, so he knows his game and he knows what to expect. And again, you'd have somebody that can seamlessly fit in to the Islander system. And again, you're getting him for a dirt cheap price.
Yep.
You can just pay him $700,000, and again, you're saving.
I don't think I'll take that, but I know
he's getting $6 million plus from Minnesota for not being on their team. Why not?
Yeah.
Again, but here's the difference, Paul. The
Yeah.
difference between the 2015, 2016 Islander organization and the 2021 organization is you got a team that is ready to win.
Yep.
And again, guys would not even take a look at this Islander organization. But now, oh God, they're a sexy team. They made the Final Four the last 2 years. Just as we were talking. What can you expect from them? Hey, you could expect them to do better. And you got guys at the helm that are doing whatever it takes to make this team improve. So believe me, guys are going to want to come here. And it's something that me, as a 35-year season ticket holder, haven't been able to say.
Right. So I am going to bring this up. It is still a good question. Why is Brett Thompson still employed? Cutler and I have been going through this for quite a few seasons right now. I'm not going to lie. I believe Brent Thompson is down to his last season. I don't know if he's going to finish it. Do I see Brent Thompson here much longer? It would be nice to start off fresh. I mean, if you're going to rebrand everything anyway, maybe coming in and replacing the coach. But I can't remember Lou changing AHL coaches often. He's changed more NHL coaches than AHL coaches. So if something's going right with Coach Thompson, it's because Lou wants him here. So to answer your question, why is Brent Thompson still employed? Because Lou still wants him here.
And Chris.
But yes, and Chris. But I understand where you're coming from, David, because they have not done a lot of winning lately. So let's see what happens. Suter. Yeah, Suter might be coming. Suter is going to have a few more takers. Let's put it to you that way. There's going to be more demand for him than there is Parisi. I'm almost certain Parisi's just going to come and sign with the Islanders day one. I wouldn't be shocked by that at all. Suter, I don't, we'll see what happens. Maybe Zach can do some, talking to again, and we'll see what happens. But if Suter doesn't come, please bring me Alex Martinez.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Martinez, even for 2 years, beating up on the Rangers like 8 games a year, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Alex Martinez beating the Rangers all season long. I'm all for it. So speaking of the Rangers real quick, I like what they did with Goudreau.
Mm-hmm.
If they're able to keep him, look out, boys and girls. Islanders and Rangers, it's like I said last year and what we were prepping you guys for, the Rangers are ready to go to war with us. No question about it. I can't wait. It is going to be I can't talk. It's going to be a bloodbath. And the Rangers are bringing in Gerard Gallant. Goudreau makes a lot of sense. I really think we're in for a war with the Rangers coming in this season.
You surprised to see Brett Howden go?
A little bit, yes. But I think a lot of that has to do with the cap. Yeah, I'm going to bring up this one too. Any shot, Seattle takes Panic on Wednesday, only costs $1.37 million. David, you're not far off there. Ron Francis was basically saying before the ultimate prize right now in this day and age for the NHL is the cap space. So I don't think, based off of that tweet, I don't think Seattle's really going to go for like 3, 4, 5 year contracts unless these kids are like 24 and their cap hit is low. I don't see Seattle going the way Vegas did. So, do I think Komarov goes? Yes. Gary knows this. I've been saying this since day one. I still think Komarov is the one who's going to get taken because again, with Seattle, Komarov, it can be good for the locker room. He can be good for everybody. And by the end of the season, other teams vying for a playoff spot or in the playoffs looking for a Stanley Cup run are going to want guys like Komarov. So Seattle can get at least in this next year's pick, maybe a 4th or 5th round pick for Komarov. That's the benefit. It keeps the cash. It keeps the cap flowing. They grab a few more picks, and they can develop their team probably the way the Islanders did way back when, or the Devils. Matthew Carbone, another good point. Don't worry about the Rags. Worry about Carolina. Believe me, I am keeping my eye on Carolina as well as we all should. But Dougie Hamilton is not coming back. Dougie Hamilton was a big backbone of that team. So let's see where Carolina's goaltending is. Let's see where they end up with their defense, and we'll see what happens. But no, I agree, Matthew. Watch out for Carolina as well. Get rid of Leo, Hickey, Eberle. Who are you getting rid of Eberle for? Again, he's 31. He's got 3 years left. A lot of GMs may not take that. They may not take Eberle, guys. I mean, sure, if you're going to trade him, Tarasenko. But here's the thing with Tarasenko. I haven't really heard Eberle mentioned. I know some of the other people, out there in the media have said, well, Eberle's got to go. For cap reasons, I understand that. But St. Louis wants either Dobson or Wahlstrom as part of that deal for Tarasenko. Are you guys really willing to trade Dobson or Wahlstrom for someone like Tarasenko?
Who's got a very, 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 very injury-prone career.
Yeah, at this point.
Offensive skills great, but again, remember, does Vladimir Tarasenko, despite his offense, fit into a Barry Trotz system? I can give you one answer to that. No. Craig Berube and Barry Trotz have a similar defensive first system. Tarasenko does not do well. So, again, Landeskog was part of a run and gun over in Colorado. Yes, their defensemen are very good, which helped them out. And you got a great goaltender in Colorado, but Landeskog was more of a run and gun. I can't see Landeskog playing a 200-foot game. No.
I don't know, guys. Do you think who do you think goes to Detroit in the Timashov trade from last year? Hickey or Dal Cole, perhaps? I do know Detroit had a long look at Hickey last year, but they decided to decline at the beginning of the season. I do know, and this is not from the Islanders, this is from the other side. I do know the Wings have had a long look at Dal Cole. So I'm going to make an educated guess and say that Dal Cole is probably going to Detroit at some point. If I had to pick between the two. Mm-hmm. And Matthew Carbone again. I wish Ehlers, young talented player, he's the one I've been wanting. If there was ever a player I wanted who can play the two-way game on a wing and can score at will with the right centerman, it's Nikolai Ehlers. There's no question about that. I love that. I've always wanted him. Petro, what do you guys think the team will look like come October? Honestly, I hate to burst all your bubbles. I'm probably going to piss all of you off, but I'm not really looking at a lot of changes.
Neither am I.
I'm looking at a different third line. I'm looking at Parisi instead of Komarov. I'm looking at Palmieri instead of Dal Cole. I think the identity line is going to stay, and give me Alec Martinez or Ryan Sutter instead of Nick Leddy. Everyone else is coming back here, boys and girls.
Yeah, I mean, that $11 million, uptick is going to allow you to
bring everybody back.
Bring Casey back. Everybody was concerned about Casey. You bring him back now. you pretty much have your fourth line intact.
Yeah.
You built. You're keeping what's got you here, and to me, the old adage is the best trade is the one sometimes, or the best deal is the one you don't make. And I really think the way they sit right now, the experience and another year together, I really think it'll be fine.
David Cutler, does Lou extend Pullock on 7/28 the first day he can do so? Are you talking Pullock or Pellick? Because I know with Pullock, Lou does not do any kind of extensions with anybody until the contract is over. So if you're going, David, if you met Pellick, no, I don't think he'll sign 7/28. I'm looking at like a 4 or 5 year deal at maybe 20 to 25 million cap wise.
No, isn't July 28th the first day of free agency?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I? Oh, no,
think?
I'm sorry. I completely messed that up. No, I was thinking long-term contract. My bad. No, I don't think he'll extend Pullock. I don't think Pullock actually wants an extension either. I think, these players, they want as much money as possible. And if they have one hell of a career year, that's where the money's going to come in. But Lou normally does not do extensions until the end of that contract is over. Oliver and Bellows, everyday players. What about Bolduc? Yeah, we went over this before. Bolduc is 2 years away, and that's coming from 3 NHL scouts, one from New Jersey, one from Philadelphia, and one from Detroit. Oliver and Bellows, they could be everyday players, but they don't have to be right now. Truthfully, I think Bellows needs at least half a season, and I think Oliver probably needs about 20 games down in Bridgeport, but if everyone's healthy, run the old men. Run the old men in October. They're not losing when you have Varlamov and Sorokin in net. Bottom line. Don't worry about the scoring. The scoring is going to be there. Okay? Let these kids grow in Bridgeport. I'll say this again. You don't have to win everything now early on. We know this team is built for the playoffs. We know this. You can bring the kids up whenever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Let these kids win in Bridgeport. And in my opinion, you do this, you've got yourself a Stanley Cup contender for the next 3 years? Solid? It would be unbelievable what these kids could do. Yeah, 1 year left. Yeah, David, I don't think Pullock's going to get an extension. That's just not Lou's. That's not how Lou does things. Should we expect a splash at the draft? You never know. I can't say no. Lou can come back and shock us all. Do I think he's done making trades? No, I don't think so. But again, we don't have a first rounder, and Lou does like to put on a show every once in a while. Hello, Corey Schneider. Just saying. But no, I would still expect Lou to make a couple of trades. Why not? Aho's future with the Isles, as of right now, number 7. Number 7. I don't think Sebastian Aho would clear waivers. I think someone would take a stab at him. I'm not going to lie. If he would have put on 15 pounds of muscle, he'd be solid, because I love his slap shot. He still has the speed. He's got a good slap shot. He's good defensively, especially with the stick handling and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But you add 15 pounds of muscle to this kid, even 10 pounds of muscle. That's a big difference. And that, ooh.
Yeah, because you saw when he was called up, there was a couple times he was pushed off the puck so easily. Yeah.
You give him 10 pounds, 15 pounds of muscle, big difference. Big difference. Who is on their radar? Good question. It's when it comes to Lou, we honestly don't know. But in knowing the players that we watch so often, the better question is, which players coming in fit the system? I'm not going to lie. I think out of all of them, I think Tarasenko has the best chance of fitting into the system because they already played it with Craig Berube. That's about it. I don't know if Landeskog can. Taylor Hall probably fits this system better than Tarasenko. But I'm not saying Taylor Hall's coming. Again, I don't think the Islanders are really going to do much. And this is going to be an interesting one. I heard a rumor about the Kings being interested in Eberle. That's nice and all. It really doesn't help their rebuild. Again, 31 years old. I mean, if the Kings are really looking to go make it to the playoffs, okay, maybe. But
well, the only thing you can say to that defense is that Dustin Brown is really getting long in the tooth fast. Even though Kopitar had a great season last year, he is too.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a next level step. I mean, the Kings got a tremendous amount of youth in their system. They drafted well the last couple of years.
Yes, they have.
So there's a lot of good talent that's on the way up. Could Eberle maybe be of help in that? It's a possibility, but I just don't see what you're going to get for him.
Yeah, agreed. What about Johnny Gaudreau? To my knowledge, he's trying to sign an extension with Calgary. I'll get, updates on that, but to my knowledge, his first destination is still Philadelphia because he's from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. He's been trying to get to Philadelphia now for years. So I still think it's going to be Philadelphia or he'll re-sign with Calgary. So we'll see what happens. Valid point. How about they hold on to the space? Or they just reinvested in the players that already got them to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Right, because you got to re-sign Pelech, you got to re-sign Beauvillier, and re-sign Sorokin. So you've got guys you got to put that $19 million too.
Yeah, and I don't think they're done.
And Palmieri, if he's gonna come back.
Yeah.
So you're talking that's a good chunk of that 19 right there.
Yeah. And many people have already said this would be a phenomenal season for Lou if he was just able to bring everybody back. He's on the verge of doing it, boys and girls. So,
well, except the video game GMs that want everybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I do think Casey will be back. And I know a lot of people. I know we're getting long here on time. I know a lot of people were getting annoyed that Casey and Clutterbuck were getting like $3.5 million as fourth line wingers and whatnot. But you guys also have to remember that time frame. That was also back in the day when they were splitting time between Nassau Coliseum and Brooklyn. Okay, a lot of those players did not want to do that. So what Garth basically did was, look, I'll give you extra money if you suck it up for like another year or two. And that's what happened. They got the money, they sucked it up, and it turned out to be a good long-term decision for both. Do I think Casey's going to be able to get $3.5 million? He might on a different team, but do I think he might take less to win a cup? He might. I could see him going 2.75 or 3. I could see that happening. I see all of the veterans right now taking just a little bit less, just like Brock did, just like Eberle did. I can see them all taking a little less money to stay here to try to win this cup. Because let me tell you, boys and girls, there is nothing like winning a Stanley Cup in New York. Nothing.
Nope. And what it will be.
Exactly. So we're not dealing with Nassau Coliseum or Nassau County politics or Garth Snow's struggles, whatnot. We're here to win. It's in Belmont. We're ready to go, and the players know this. So I don't think the players are going to have a lot of issues, when it comes to stuff like that anymore. Offer sheets. No. You don't offer sheet with Lou Lamoriello. You just don't do it. No, there's quite a few GMs who are very, very still terrified of the Godfather when it comes to that. 2022 Eastern Conference Finals. Look, I'll just put it this way. I said it last year, and I think I said it the year before. or at least definitely last year. The Islanders are Stanley Cup contenders.
Period.
No matter who they bring in, they are Stanley Cup contenders. Whoever's on this team, it doesn't matter the age, because you got the young kids in Bridgeport as well, who will eventually be able to step their game up and fill in the roles. And even if Lou has roughly $2 million in space available from the LTIR, that's still enough for him to make a move at the trade deadline to bring someone else in if it's absolutely necessary. This team knows how to win. They know the system. They love their coach. They love the fans. They can't wait to play in Belmont. They know what is in their mouths right now. They don't like it. They want to change it. They want to win. They want to win now. They're Stanley Cup contenders.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Paul. Seriously, that was right. I was spot on. Again, it's the whole culture that has changed. Again, to the people that lived through the 90s, the people that lived through all those things that have gone on, okay? It's going to be a complete 180-degree change.
Yep.
And if you can't be excited for it, then you're rooting for the wrong team, my friend.
Yep. Get ready for it. Probably one of the last ones here. Who does Tampa lose? Who doesn't Tampa lose? They got to clear a lot of crap. They did it with Gaudreau already.
You lost that $19 million.
Yeah.
Because Kucherov has to be back on the books at $11 million. You got Gaborik coming off the LTIR books at $4.5 million. Somebody else was on there at $3 million. So you're losing all of that. So you're already $15 million plus on the whole. I mean, you gave up Gaudreau, who's not making a lot. Probably, I think he was in the 2 range.
Sure.
So they've got a lot of work to do.
Yep.
And it's not going to be easy.
No. So, all right, guys, we're coming up towards the end here. Coming up next week, we do have the expansion draft. Gary and I, as of right now, we're going to cover the expansion draft live while it's on with you guys. And we'll talk to players, who gets claimed, whatnot. Bring your favorite drink. Bring dinner with you. It's one big, massive hangout. Go ahead.
No, I also want to add on too. I got a show next Sunday night, a week from tomorrow. WGBB Sports Talk, which is on from 8 to 10 p.m. on 1240 a.m. and 95.9 FM on terrestrial radio, or you can go to WGBBSportsTalk.com. It's streaming live. Paul, I'm sure will be on with me on Sunday. We're going to have some other guests. I'm working on an Islander alumni to join us. I won't tell you who, but a very popular one at best. So definitely come down. We will talk about other things. We'll talk about baseball and stuff like that too. But definitely, please, join us Sunday night too, because we'll have some more. We'll have some free agency to talk, because that will be open 3 days after the show, basically a week from Wednesday as well. So,
yeah,
this is going to be a fun time, Islander fans, and definitely get excited.
So, yeah, that'll be it. And don't check out ilestalk.com. I'm actually coming out with about a 10 player, maybe a 12 player wish list. Basically the theme of who I think the Islanders are going to draft in 2021 here. That's just my little fun thing. Sometimes I get it right. Most of the time I don't, but if I get one every, 2 years, I'm ecstatic. But, the goal for me is to try to get the theme of what Lou Lamoriello is trying to do, and check out ilestalk.com during the week. I'll have it out and whatnot.
Yeah. And it'll be hashtag Nostradamus.
Oh, shit. Anyway, you can follow Gary Gary, tell him where you can follow you.
Well, it's right on the screen there at G Harding WGBB. And definitely, I hope we'll be on next Wednesday with the expansion draft, and definitely check me out next Sunday night. And like I said, this is fun. This is definitely fun.
Get ready. And you can also follow Isles Talk on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. I will be posting different videos from time to time, not just these broadcasts. And, the more subscribers we get on YouTube, basically my goal is, if we start accepting donations from our listeners, we're going to be donating it back to different Islander charities throughout. We're not making any money off this. We don't want to make any money off this. We completely enjoy this. But if we can build this community up and we can start doing charity events, we can do more donations, that would be greatly appreciated. But that's all starts when you guys hit that subscribe button on YouTube.
And know these donations are not any method of getting Paul Kreischer back on Long Island again.
No. And from the sound of it, I'm gonna have to come back anyway. So
yeah, well, we might still have the border guards at the bridges, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. That works for me. Jersey, you're still screwed because I can get in there anytime. So, having said that, boys and girls, good luck this weekend. Good luck, coming up this week. It's going to be a fun time. Don't worry about the protected list. It's all going to happen. It's the way it's supposed to happen. So, that's it. Good night, guys. Have fun. Let's go Islanders. And we'll see you guys for the expansion draft next Wednesday.
Absolutely. Have a safe one, guys.
Take care, guys.